What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about James Charles, who has gotten himself back into some trouble for basically the same situation he's been in trouble for like 3 different times now, man. It's kind of crazy that this has now kind of been something that we've had to address, I guess, as the YouTube community like 3 different times. But James Charles has yet again gotten himself into some trouble for messaging underage fans. So a 16-year-old recently came out with some allegations that James Charles basically made these advances on him and basically through social media was grooming him because this kid was a fan of James Charles. And of course it blew up, it became really popular, James Charles has had to address it, and now there's been like a back and forward in this situation. And the crazy thing about this is, like I said, this is like the 3rd time that James Charles has dealt with these types of allegations, okay, within just a few years here. James Charles has been relevant for, what, like 3 or 4 years now, and there's been pretty much like as many allegations, it seems like. It's becoming, unfortunately, a pretty commonplace thing for James Charles to have these allegations made against him. So first I want to provide some of the evidence, I guess, that this 16-year-old uploaded to Twitter. It's a 34 or so second video clip of some messages between this kid and his boyfriend that apparently provides some context to the conversation that was being had between James Charles and this kid. I'm gonna go ahead and play that now.
So one of my Snapchat videos want to send. But basically what I said like an hour ago was that I get what you're saying. It makes sense. I'm not going to make any big steps yet. I'm just going to kind of wait it out to see what goes on from here. Even though he already did it. If he asks for something again, then that's when I'll consider it. But if not, then... But he still did it. Like, that's the only problem. I don't know. We just have to talk about it more.
So this apparently took place on Monday. It's, well, as of me recording this video, Saturday, so this happened apparently just a few short days ago. That's just some of the evidence that this kid uploaded. As you can see by one of the text messages, he says, "Yeah, I'll see," because now he's talking about wishing I was of age so he could date me. Now, of course, these allegations started to gain traction, right? Because James Charles is a pretty massive online influencer, right? He's got all these millions of followers on all these different accounts. He's a huge part of like the makeup and beauty community and whatnot, so he actually posted a response yesterday that we're going to go ahead and take a look at here. Trigger warning, grooming and nastiness. There's a video going around about me on TikTok and Twitter of a guy calling me a groomer, and I want to address it right away. The accusation that I've groomed this person is completely false. Last week I came across someone on my Instagram Explore page, saw that he followed me and added him on Snapchat. The next morning, I wake up to several snaps from this person being excited that I added him back, saying he loved me, and also lewd photos of himself in the shower. I asked how old he was right away, and he told me he was 18, so I started flirting back. In the excitement of meeting someone I thought could potentially be great, I didn't ask for a copy of his ID or passport. It's now clear, based on the video that he uploaded, he was taking photos of me with another device, and had an ulterior motive from the beginning. Later in the day, he said a few things that made me question the validity of his original age, and when I asked him to confirm his age once again, he admitted that he was 16. I told him I was really uncomfortable and apologized for flirting, but he insisted on continuing talking, saying it could be our little secret. He's a fan of mine and would never tell anyone. I told him I wasn't okay with this. He started getting upset, and at this point, I unfriended him. We haven't spoken since. I'm not victim blaming him or victimizing myself either, simply sharing what happened, and what happened was not okay. After false allegations like this in the past, I would never knowingly engage with anyone underage and put my life on the line for a few Snapchats. Because of situations like this, instead of taking someone's word for it, I will now ask to see the ID or passport of every guy that I have a conversation with. So immediately, a couple things kind of spring into thought for me here, right? First and foremost, right, there's no chance that I'm ever like hooking up with a fan like this, bro. Like, I've always thought that this is kind of like a weird thing to do in the first place. Like, I know a lot of people say that there's like a power dynamic, right? If like an influencer or like a celebrity or something like hooks up with fans, but I just don't really see the benefit in like, you know, kind of combining that kind of part of your work life into personal relationships, right? Like me personally, I'm hesitant to even tell people what I do for a living, right? Like most of the time when people ask me like, oh, you know, what do you do for a living? Especially if I don't know that person, or know them like extremely well, I'll just say, oh yeah, I'm an investor, because that's technically true, right? Like I trade stocks and whatever. And it's a lot better than like telling someone you've never met, like, oh yeah, I make YouTube videos for a living, right? Like it just, I don't know. It's something that I just would never try to combine into most, if not any, personal relationships ever. It just isn't a good idea from the jump. Like there's really not that much benefit that you can get outside of that, right? Like what are you necessarily going to get? I mean, if you're James Charles, it's a lot harder, right? Because it's fucking James Charles, right? Like everyone knows James Charles, it seems like. So also, when this has happened to you multiple times in the past, why would you ever move a conversation like this to Snapchat, where the messages automatically delete themselves? Now, from what I know, Snapchat, they save all the message data and stuff on their servers for up to 30 days and then they delete it or whatever. So given how soon this has been, like, or I guess how close this has been to us in the past now, it's only been a few days, right? I would assume that the message data is still there in case of any police investigation or anything, and it could be accessed, but like, right, on your device, after a person closes that message, unless they save it or you set like the chats to delete after a specific amount of time, they're gone. So when you've been quote unquote falsely accused of 2 different like bad sexual experiences online, how fucking dumb do you have to be like, you know what, I think I'm gonna continue to have conversations on a platform where it's hard for me to get any evidence of what I said. Like if it's Instagram DMs, you can just go back and screenshot them. Or if you're gonna have these kinds of conversations, why not just save the messages? That way either A, you can screenshot them for proof later, or B, that person will like have to delete the messages, which will show up with notifications showing that they did that, right? It just, I don't know, bro. Snapchat might be the worst place for someone like this to try and have any sort of relationship. Just a stupid concept, man. Now, a lot of people are making the point like, well, if this kid's 16 and he knows that James Charles is an adult, right? Like, why would he continue that conversation? Which, yeah, morally, right? Like, if I were 16, I would not be talking to anyone over age, right? Like, it wouldn't happen. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who just make stupid fucking decisions, right? I can understand how a 16-year-old might do some morally skewed shit, like have a conversation with somebody they know they shouldn't be talking to, especially if it's someone famous that they look up to, right? And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a minor, right? Like, the responsibility ultimately is honestly not on the minor for this kind of situation. As an adult, you're supposed to verify the age of people that you have these kinds of things with, right? I mean, even if you go out to the bar, right? Like, if you're a 23-year-old guy and you go out to the bar and a girl tells you she's 21 and you take her home and sleep with her and it turns out she's 15 the next morning, you've still committed a fucking crime. And like a lot of places don't care if they lied about their age. The fact that the interaction happened at all is a crime, right? Like, James Charles, from my understanding, could actually face repercussions legally for this. Like, you're supposed to be checking for ID and things like that, unfortunately, beforehand, right? Like, the fact that you have to do that is fucked up. The fact that kids will lie to do things like this is fucked up, but kids will do fucked up things. And as an adult, it's supposed to be your responsibility to make sure, right? Now, people keep making this argument like, oh, well, the kid could show a fake ID. Well, my mentality goes like, would you rather a kid go so far to lie that they'd show you a fake ID and you at least went that far to like try and verify the age and everything? Or would you rather just hope that a kid's telling you the truth and then like advance, right? Like, the options are very clear to me, right? Like, you should be asking for an ID. Even if they can fake IDs and all kinds of shit, man, at least you can have that point, right? Like, they faked the ID. How am I supposed to know, right? You can have that point. But when you're just fucking blindly trusting people and having these like weird Snapchat conversations, these sexually charged Snapchat conversations, right? You're basically at a certain point kind of like inviting this type of unfortunate shit to happen. Now, James was responded to by this kid. He said, "James, we both know that I blocked you. You never asked for my age. After I told you I was 16, you proceeded to ask me for nudes and said that it didn't matter. You called me hot and said, quote, I wish the timeline could speed up so you can be 18. Okay, so I made a mistake. Apparently, the conversation earlier between this kid and this other person through iMessages was not boyfriend. I misread BSF as BF. I pulled a fucking dyslexia there or whatever. So, yeah, I guess that's best friends. So that's just a minor correction to this video I'm making right now. And so, with all of this, right, with the screenshot of James blocked, I guess evidence here of iMessages kind of showing what the conversation was being led down and everything here, this kid just has more evidence. I mean, even if like there was some sort of ulterior motive or whatever, right, like James put himself in a position to not have any evidence to back up what he was saying. He put himself in a position where it's like, you have no proof to defend anything you're saying. And then on top of that, right, This is like the third fucking time that this has happened. Like I said, like that's such an important point, I think, right? You would think after not even one of these situations happening that you would be more cautious, right? Then it happens. Like you get caught up or whatever, you know, there's these allegations being made against you on social media. You would think after that, you would be as careful as you fucking can, but James apparently decided no, it happened a second time. After that, like, you pretty much have to, man. Like, you have to be more careful. But then it happens again, like, that's pretty fucking insane to me, right? That's pretty crazy to think. Now, I also want to add here, these are unconfirmed reports of what's going on here that I'm about to show you guys. This has not been confirmed in any way. This person's alleged connection with James Charles is not confirmed in any way, so we really don't know the validity of this, but I want to include it anyway, just in case. I am a current member of James Charles' management team and genuinely believe that the following statement is in the public interest. Around 1 month ago, I witnessed James Charles and a few trusted members of his management team discuss ways to improve James's declining relevance on social media. I heard James say that a good way to improve his relevance is to hire someone with a decent social media following to make a public allegation of grooming. It's my honest belief that the grooming story commented on by James on February 26, 2021 is a complete hoax designed and executed by James Charles. Now that's completely out there, right? Like that's a very crazy allegation to make, but if this is true, like this has to be the end, right? Like there's no way James Charles can come back from faking something like this. If that were to turn out actually true, right? Now, once again, completely unconfirmed. We don't know if it's true or false. We don't have any confirmed connection to James Charles on this one. It's just something to put there as a completely out there possibility, right? So this whole situation is a mess, but that's what I see of it so far, man. Like James Charles is putting himself in these bad positions, and at this rate, man, like you just gotta question it. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the allegations and signing out. You've seen cool stuff in your life before, but you've never seen cool shit like this. Introducing Horser. Are we sure what it is? Not really, but is it interesting? Absolutely. Optimus, what do all these luxury cars and videos of horses and nature have to do with Horser? They're specially crafted in that order to make you want to buy shit. To make you think to yourself, oh, this Horser brand represents luxury and wealth and nature, and I need that. So fulfill the advertisement's role and go buy it. Horser, keep it on you, or some shit like that.